Peace, family. This is Inaya. So, as we're doing all of this self work, right, and we're reflecting and we're really getting in tune with our power and all of these beautiful things, we're setting goals for ourselves. How do we stay motivated? Like, what are some things that we can do to keep going on the path that we're going in? Because this whole life of being honest with ourselves and constantly looking for ways to improve ourselves, it can get really discouraging. Like, especially when we start comparing ourselves to other people, it gets very discouraging, you know? It gets easy to lose momentum, like, dang, I'm just not getting this together. It's not working for me, you know? The most important thing we have to do is remember to be kind and gentle to ourselves during this process. It's one of my favorite affirmations. We are not our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. Our thoughts are a result of social conditioning from ourselves and from our environment. This is what we're basically told or communicated to operate or to think. Obviously it's a thought, but those are our thoughts. It's not indicative of who we are. Although they are reflective of who we are at that moment in time, it is not indicative. And there's a difference, meaning our thoughts reflect what mental space we're in. It reflects our current beliefs that we hold, the current information that we accept as true. It is reflective of those things. Now, what we believe and what we know to be true, these are all things that change. These are not things that are set in stone. As time passes, as we come across new experiences, we come across new people or new cultures, whatever, our worldview, our information database is constantly changing. Therefore, it's safe to assume that our thoughts are also going to be changing as well as we, progress through that journey. So it's very important to be aware of the thoughts that go through our mind, especially when we're breaking down situations and we're looking on ways to improve ourselves. If you go through a situation where, let's say, you're not necessarily, or you'd like to do it differently in the future. Let's say if you were to come across that situation, you would prefer to do it differently in the future. What your inner voice might initially say, your thoughts in that moment, if it's not trained or it's kind of like out of control, oh my God, what were you thinking? You're such a ridiculous person. How could you ever do this? And you're so dumb. You're so silly, so foolish. Why wouldn't you just do this? See, if you would have just did this, then this would have happened and you would have never had this. Like, this is just all your fault. Like, what the, like, seriously, dude? Like, you get thoughts kind of going in that direction. Totally not helpful. Totally not helpful. Because think about it. Let's say you were in a teamwork situation and there was you were over one part of the project, and a teammate they realized that there may have been a flaw in something that you produced, or there may have been some type of improvement that they're suggesting that you do. In your head, you could take it personal and be like, oh my God, whatever. But most times your teammate is not going to say that to you, right? Because it's kind of like counterproductive to the whole idea of, working together and making sure that you're a stable unit. Although there's different moving parts, you're still like one unit that has to operate harmoniously. They're not going to be like, pulls out the project. What is that? This is not supposed to be da-da-da-da. Are you stupid? Like, are you crazy? Why would you even ever think to do this? Like, if you would have just did this, had this issue, that like it doesn't happen like that. And if it does, you need to run, because that's not really like a crew that you want to get creative with anyway, because that's not helpful to your process. It's not really providing you with any insight as to what it was that you did wrong. It's not providing any solutions. It's literally just attacking you. And we have this we have this default voice. Not all, I mean, you know, it's something to work on, but it's very common to have an inside voice that is just super destructive. Our thoughts are not indicative of who we are. And throughout your process, as you're learning from different environments, you're coming across new situations where you're challenging yourself to really step into your power. You're challenging yourself to step out of your comfort zone and to really project the best version of yourself. You're going to stumble a little bit. You're going to recover. It might be a little bit rough. No, it's definitely going to be rough, especially in the beginning, especially if it's new and you haven't worked on it at all up until this point. You know, it's to be expected. But what you can do is reprogram. Be aware. I feel like that's like my favorite thing to say. Just be aware of when those thoughts come into your head that basically promote you as being an inferior being that is incapable of performing certain things. It's just not true. Ever. Because you are all powerful and you can literally do anything that you want to do with enough intention and with enough energy projected intentionally and purposefully for that cause. You can do it. That's never the question. And if it is, that is some work that needs to happen separately. Why is it that you think that you are not able to do whatever it is that you set your mind to? What are the thoughts that are holding you back? But understand that those thoughts are not the truth. And you can reprogram your thoughts to tell you the truth. And when you do that, you'll find that handling the situations just gets easier over time. So talk to yourself how you expect other people to talk to you. You know, you can't go out expecting people to respect you when you don't respect yourself. Respect yourself enough to not talk to yourself in any type of negative, bashing way. Right? Love yourself more than that, you know? And just notice when it happens. That's the first step. Notice when it happens, okay? Let's say something happens and, I find myself in my head, like, and just, you have to find some kind of like trigger to know when it is that you've like gone into this deep pit of despair. Like once you start to notice that you've been thinking about this situation for over 10 minutes, over 15 minutes, it's time to take a step back and be like, okay, relax. Everybody just relax. This is me like talking to my inner voices. Everybody just relax. Shut it down. All right? Let's go about this rationally. Okay? There's a lot of charged up emotion going on, but you gotta regain your control. Reclaim your power. That's all it is. Okay? So this is just something to be mindful of. Be kind and be gentle to yourself. You can do it. All right? So comments, questions, leave them down below. And thank you for joining me. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.